Well, I am not going to distract us any further because it is officially our hard start. And with us all having had a significant balance of things, has you more than others, I most assuredly could take a trip down into the land of make-believe, our world of darkness, our world of eternal night as an escape. And I'd appreciate and take all due cherishment of your time to help us do so. And without further ado, and too many more delays before technical issues take us completely under, or at least me, I'd like to say this is officially Soup City Sins Season 11, Episode 1. You ain't got no talents. When we last left our coterie, they were on the 6th floor in a corporate park in Arlington Heights. They had managed to obtain information pointing to the CEO and owner of a penetration company. They are, by dint of their profession, experts in circumventing security, collecting data, making penetration attacks, and verifying paths of intrusion into other entities' businesses, from their personal to their corporate to all steps in between. Incognito mode is simply window dressing for them. They have infiltrated and red teamed their way into a local superstar status. This is the company you call to make sure that no other hackers would have an easy time in pantsing you in public. These are the people that you call to ensure that ransomware is nothing more than a bad joke. This is the company that you call to ensure that all of your locks are strong enough to withhold against several different varying levels of attack and exposure. This is also the company that would most greatly profit and have systems in place to manage a network of blackmailers throughout the city. This is also the company that would ensure the blackmailers had the most secure form of transmission of data and had secure places to store them, and could act as a hub for all manner of nefarious schemes, all the while double dipping, being paid to show the companies their areas of weakness and areas of improvement, and being paid in installment plans through nefarious schemes and otherwise obtained information. Much like the hidden cameras throughout Stella and Faye's apartment. Much like the many electronic dead drops from various cell phones across the city. Much like breaking into portions of a secure financial system that holds sway over several hundred different businesses. And as the reality of that level of perniciousness falls over the coterie, Vivi notices that downstairs, outside, there's an arrival of 4 dark SUVs with men dressed to do harm. That there are most assuredly several other ways in and out of the building that they would need to find with all due haste. Hestia deciding a course of action, taking the stairs and escaping via foot as quickly as possible, not using the elevators. Dizzy not quite caught up to the moment, but understanding that pressure is coming, a full court press, if you would. And Lucio stuck with the realization that there were a multiplicity of cameras in, around, and throughout Stella and Faye's apartment, that information is circulating. that the blackmailer that he put a most decided end to was potentially connected with a network of agents most foul. How many moments of his life have been played out for other people's enjoyment? How many moments captured from their attempts to cover up various former and active coterie members' wrongdoings? How many times have they been exposed or touched by this over the course of just the last few months? And with those realizations sitting there before us all, we dive into Vivi having looked over her shoulder before once more gauging the speed at which they're moving and what they're actually doing. And she shakes her head. It's almost textbook. They are cordoning off the area as lightly as possible. Something that most people would notice. They're going to check the building, check the landscaping around the building, moving to various exits to keep an eye on any movement inside. Once they are sure that no one is going to come barreling out, they will begin to close those avenues of exit. They'll begin working their way up one floor at a time, covering each other as they go, someone staying watch at the most advantageous position on the ground floor. As they slowly move through the building, weeding out any rats, anyone hiding, verifying that the building is, if not secure, at least whoever has invaded it, sized up shortly for a very shallow grave.
Checking out the window, Lucio, I believe I had mentioned in the open play, but he's gonna try and see what he can with his shadow perspective to see how armed they are and how many they are. Possibly overhear what orders, if that is allowed with the power.
Oh, definitely. That is most assuredly something that is possible. The beast has other intentions. As you peek your head out of the nearest larger shadow, which happens to be beneath the lead SUV, hearing the sound of well-heeled, expensive shoes that are designed to look casual, but based on the soles alone, not that Lucio ever served, but he knows is more tactically minded. It's the sort of shoe that would look at home in the streets of Kabul, or the sort of streets that would look at home following along behind some suited overlord of the financial world. The suits are in fact far more casual than they seem, simply dark of color, but the truth of the matter is the material is actually khakis, the sort of thing that would repel stains such as blood and other viscera. The jackets are reinforced, and the armholes where everyone slides in are a little lower and looser to provide movement. The jackets, tailored though they are tailored in such a way as to disguise if they were carrying MP5s or other small compact submachine guns. The orders being spoken are spoken at such a volume that you know that they're speaking directly into a microphone on their persons, probably a jawbone or some such that works with conductivity versus needing wires. It's the sort of thing that those who adhere to their privacy and they want to make sure that they are as least and low profile as possible. It's a sort of unit and people that move with a precision born of experience. These are all clearly ex-military or ex-police officers or a combination of the two. And they, while Vivi finds they're sticking to the basics, their textbook, funny, exploitable, watching their efficiency in action from a little closer is a scary thing. Can you imagine 16 people of such skill focused on one person? Their years combat experience paying dividends, and the fact that when they set up a kill box, it is in fact just that. The overwhelming need for shock and awe, and not drawing a gun unless, of course, there is every intent of using it. That steadiness and calmness of nerve, that presents a tactical issue that is hard to overcome. Having been shot more times than he cares to actually remember, Lucian knows that with that firepower, short of Superman standing between you and them, if you all enter into their sights, there's a very good chance that'll be the last thing you all do.
But pulling his perspective back to himself in the shadow, he immediately moves from the window and says to the gathered, "Let's go. Up through the roof. Downstairs is no good." This is not a fight we want to pick.
And why do you think we cannot beat them? There's just 16 of them. I've seen what you can do.
What do you think, Vivi? Offense or defense? Are we going to be trapped on a roof?
I don't see how we could suddenly sprout wings. Unless, of course, there are some secrets you have not told me.
I mean, a little broken leg from a fall doesn't really stop us. Slow us down a bit, but you, on the other hand...
I mean, aren't you able to jump from rooftop to rooftop like Spider-Man or something? Or is that... I mean, I've seen you guys literally cover distances in the blink of an eye. That seems like something you should be able to do, right?
Like, on the ground, not across, nothingness.
It is roughly 75 feet. Probably closer to 85 between these buildings to allow for fall if something were to happen to them. I'm good. And during high school, I actually did practice the long jump, but it was nowhere near 75 feet. Now, while you may be able to throw me that far, because I've seen you be very, very dangerous, I'm not sure that I could safely land from that distance. That would be a burden to you all. So my suggestion, using your powers of being dead, you escape. And come back for me. I'll make it painful enough for them where they won't put me in a grave.
Well, you heard her. Get going.
You're sure about this?
Well, I can't jump 75 feet. I can't fly. I'm also human, which means a little blood and they should be fine. I'm also very trained. I know how to make it hurt. You all go.
If you're not back by the, when we come back for him, I'll make you regret it. And
Lucio's gonna... Oh, I'm sorry.
take care of yourself, please.
I will.
Give him help.
Lucio's gonna actually, extend his hand, offer to shake hers, and basically just say, "See you on the other side."
Oh no, you'll see me very shortly. I plan on being arrested and making a mess of this. You make sure that they have no one to report to. Take your information and go. You know where he lives. I will visit him. If he is no longer a problem, they no longer have an employer, and things should quiet down easy enough for me to either be released or slip away. But you need to go. You all won't fall when you are shot. You won't cry for help. Your pain is considerably different and would raise questions.
Alright, let's do this.
So, heading toward the stairwell, looking for the rooftop hatch, the access point, the ladder leading up. You all hear 5 floors below you, doors opening and closing. You hear elevators rising. There's a certain electrical hum and a fullness of energy being released into the air just by the motion of the elevator. It's clear that the elevator shaft isn't as sealed as in most buildings. Finding the hatch to the roof is a little easier in a corporate building, especially here in the suburbs of Chicago, than almost anywhere else. Instead of it being a ladder that rises straight against some brick wall, there's a flight of stairs leading up to one door and then to the next. There's a small alcove between the actual inside of the building and the exit door, allowing for one last "are you sure" moment. The door is clearly alarmed, but it's not locked. There's no other deterrent security at play. Exiting onto the roof is quite easy, which should mean that there was a helipad up there at one point, or at least a planned roof egress. Does everyone exit out? Everyone goes onto the roof?
No, I stay behind with Vivi.
I thought we said Hestia, like, as soon as she saw the van, she was out. So, she would probably be already outside and have never gone to the roof.
Lucio is definitely going to go out onto the roof, trying to keep to the shadows as much as possible, just on the off chance someone or something is up there.
Well, that leaves Melinda. But does she try to catch up with Hestia? Does she head to the rooftop with Lucio?
She is going to go to the rooftop with Lucio.
Okay. So that being the case, let's start with everyone saying their goodbyes and people making their decisions otherwise. Like a china bowl dropped from a second-story window, the coterie shatters, splitting into several different directions. The potential risks align themselves where self-preservation and determination of thought causes a lack of cohesion. As Hestia makes her way downstairs, the doors opening and closed let her know that the building is being beset. It also deprives her of the knowledge that there are 16 people moving through this building in various states. Whether it's 4 or 3 or 2, she's not entirely sure. Does she take the time to look over and watch, or does she try to find out more esoterically how many people are entering into the stairwell?
She's not going to want to take the chance of switching her vision to something that she's going to have to snap out of and be essentially snuck up on during. So she's just going to take a quick peek over the side and back.
Okay, which means you guys go ahead and roll your which awareness. And what is your total stealth, Dotson?
I only got 1 dot in stealth, by the way. So, exhibits and awareness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's 1 dot in stealth.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll your wits and awareness for me.
Okay. Goodness. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Not bad.
Bear with me one quick second. My Discord is not responding there. Okay. There are 2 shadowy suited bodies entering into the stairwell. They are moving and murmuring lowly to themselves because it's clear again that they're communicating through a conduction microphone somewhere on their person. However, as Hestia pokes her head out and slips it back, them already looking up, watching the stairwell, listening, does unfortunately catch their attention. You saw movement. In a building such as this, with a security guard sprawled on the first floor, there shouldn't be anyone left to be moving about the stairwell. And while the cameras went out less than 30 minutes ago, most people who are thieves would have gotten in and gotten out, so they didn't expect to find anyone exactly on the premises, but they were hoping to find clues to launch an investigation to properly find out the person's brave, bold, and clearly bad enough to break into such a secure location. After all, there's nothing here of any easy value. There's no reason for anyone not in the know to be targeting this location. And the movement attracts their attention. You can hear them go silent. There's no more murmuring. And you know that they're moving up the stairwell simply because you know they saw the movement, if not your face, peeking over the top railing of the stair guardrail. But the fact that you can't hear them causes your undead, your unbeating heart to start to rabbit in your chest. Now, you know that's not the case. You haven't roused the blood, but that's what it feels like. It feels as if at any moment the tiger will come bounding out of the tall grass that surrounds you.
Only thing I can think of, is it like a spiral staircase? Like you can, if you go over the side, you'd land in the middle?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to give it like a couple seconds, count to like maybe 10 or 20 in my head, and wait till they're a good ways up the stairs and they are in between me and the first floor, and then go over the side.
All right, that being the case, leaping that 5 stories to the hard tiled concrete below, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity athletics?
Will Cat's Grace help?
Cat's Grace? What is that?
It's just dexterity and athletics.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that being the case, do you have fortitude?
No, I do not on this character.
All right, bear with me one quick second here. Laptop is being a butthead right now, sorry. All right. 3, 4. All right. So, leaping over the railing at 5 stories above concrete is something that would normally result in, at the very least, a tragic amount of rest and recuperation. Luckily for Hestia, she is in fact dead. Luckily for Hestia, she is in fact not capable of experiencing the sort of pain that her body would normally respond to in this moment. Her exceptional grace, her exceptional understanding of balance that comes care of her cat's grace, her ability to land on her feet, her ability to run across a string of bullets and dodge raindrops comes in as handy as you possibly can. Normally, leaping, falling, crashing from 5 stories, which is roughly 50 feet, or 16 meters, would result in death if she was alive. It would result in shattered bones, broken ankle, knees driven into places that knees shouldn't go, bending in angles or crushing under the pressure. As she lands on her feet, she looks as if she is an angel fallen to earth, her clothes settling undisturbed, despite the fact that there's a crushing and a grating of the dead bones beneath her skin. There is a moment of preternatural gravity hitting all at once. There is a very real fact that if anyone, there's no way they would believe her to be anything save something magical. The damage halved, 16, cut in half is 8, minus the 3 from her successful landing, resulting 5 superficial health levels, hitting all at once. The bones are, in fact, broken. There is, in fact, internal damage. If she was human, she would not be walking away from alive. She no longer needs to breathe. And the 2 suited security officers are a flight and a half above her head as the door opens. And as the door opens, we return to the 6th floor suite, where Vivi is shaking her head. You don't get it, Chica. I can do this. I won't be able to do this if I'm worried about you.
Why would you be worried about me?
Because you are very much not breathing. If you take a punch, it is obvious that you are not breathing. It is very much clear that 1, you don't take orders very well. 2, you wouldn't know what those orders mean. And while I'm a stranger in the deeper parts of your world, this, and she looks at her watch, then looks back at you, is very much my world. What we are going to do is move to the elevator, which is opening in roughly 45 seconds. You're going to act with all due sense of self-preservation for me. Don't worry about your body, you'll be fine. But we have to shock it all. We have to hurt people. And if you go using your magical abilities to do so, it is a very good chance that it will throw everything off and we will probably end up dead. So, take your gun. We're going to pistol whip. We're going to fight. We're going to hurt. And we're not going to stop until the body count of those who have bruises from us is such a sufficient level that they pull back to regroup, which will give us an opportunity to either sneak out or for them to offer terms to capture us alive.
Wait, so you want to pimp slap everybody but not take any casualties?
We know how you respond around blood. We're going to minimize that. We're going to hurt them. And we're going to hurt them bad. The point of you all leaving was so that when I hurt these people and you take care of their boss, there's a good chance that if I fail in hurting them sufficiently, that I will be allowed to continue living. At this rate, the best we can hope for is for them to offer terms.
The point in me staying was that I ensured that you survived.
This is not my last ride, I promise. I was going to survive. There was a plan. I probably should have shared the details, but that being as it is, and she moves to the left side of the elevator and lowers her shoulders. And the elevator opens and she leaps. She doesn't wait for anyone to step out. She doesn't wait for any gun muzzles to appear around edges. She leaps into the elevator as the doors are opening before anyone of the 4 inside have the opportunity to regroup properly because they were expecting to sneak and skulk through the floor. She begins pistol whipping, kicking, biting, scratching. What do you do?
I guess I follow her lead.
All right, that being the case, would you so kind of go ahead and strength and brawl?
I'm so scary without powers.
The effort is there. The earnest attempt is written all over your face, from the grimace to the willing to follow Vivi into the fray. And the thing is, on any schoolyard anywhere in America, you would be the ultimate badass. Unfortunately, in the closed space of this elevator, your flail that they are parrying and blocking and ducking and dodging your attacks is insulting. You know that if you unleash what's in your chest, you will tear through the entire lot of them. They've not drawn weapons. They are clearly here to investigate. They weren't prepared for such a vicious response. They had every intention of taking this slowly, securing the building and finding clues. They didn't expect to find people. All the same, they moved and operated with the same tactical mindset that there would be someone here, that there was the off chance that there may have been someone left inside. There was no reason for anyone to be left inside, but just in case, let's go by the book and make things happen. Their only mistake, as all things are in such situations, was in their not knowing, in their not understanding just how deep the water hole went. And before your very eyes, the occasionally blunt, the acerbic-witted Vivi turns into the living embodiment of the Tasmanian devil. Her blows are vicious. There are spurts of blood here and there from noses being knocked out of joint, eyes being poked, knees being kicked. There's a scratch and a scrape just across the cheek, just below the eye to cause them to flinch. There's the reverse-handled pistol whip. You watch as, in the moment, Vivi becomes the violence and physical manifestation of Lady Shiva. And on the roof, as you all exit out into the Midwestern sky, a almost perfectly cloudy October evening, the wind buffeting around you, having kicked up roughly 5 to 10 times higher than when you first entered the building less than an hour ago. Looking out to your left and to your right, there's a building on each side of this one. And unfortunately, true to her word, from corner to corner, tip to tip, there is roughly at least 75 feet between each of the buildings. And yes, just as you all suspected, the roof had been outfitted for a helipad. Nothing has actually been built, but it is clear from the markings and demarcations that this building was initially, or someone was attempting to build a helipad here.
So moving to the side where the opposite of where the vans were, Lucia's gonna try and find some nearby platform to jump down to. He does have soaring leap, so he knows he can make it. The question on his mind is, can he carry Melinda while doing it?
Well, a little extra weight never hurt anybody, or so they said. Truth of the matter is, every little bit helps or hurts. And carrying her isn't the issue. Gravity will do everything else. All you do is hold on. And therein lies the rub. Because if you hold on too well or too tight, there's a chance that with your strength, you might crush her or break something inside. If you hold too lightly, when you meet the ground, there's a good chance that she'll go tumbling and still hurt or break something. But the leap from the building to the tree there just along the edge of the water line is well within 50 feet, give or take, that you can make with your leap. Question is, will you take that chance? Will you leap to that tree, take the chance that it will hold your weight, your force, and not cause a scene all of its own?
Lucio turns to Melinda and says, "Alright, I think I might be able to carry you and jump to that tree. Question is, do we trust the branches to hold? Or do you think there's another way?"
Can I make a quick, maybe not necessarily, not necessarily a quick, but look around to see if I can find another way.
Well, you're on top of you're roughly 7 floors above the ground. To the rear of the building where you guys are looking, there is a man-made pond. Just at the edge of that pond are several benches, several trees to offer shade to those benches. There's garbage cans near and about. There's the HVAC unit to your left behind you on the roof. The demarcations for a helipad further to your right on the roof. The building is designed poorly for such things. There are no skyscrapers, there's no fire escapes, there are no emergency chutes, there's no garbage trucks, there's just concrete, grass, man-made pond, and the trees lining it. It is designed, unfortunately, poorly for stunt work. It is designed poorly for those seeking to leap in the case of a fire. It's probably the reason why none of the windows open. They stopped that from happening. It's red brick and glass facade, not offering anything in the way of handhold, potentially Spider-Man your way down the side of the building. The wind buffeting you seems intent on, by accident of purpose, sending you all over the edge either way. But all in all, again, it's a less than well-designed building for a aerial escape.
I do not trust the branches. This building was not meant for escape. But I trust the pond even less. Without branches, we can be written off as squirrel falling. Cat, raccoon. Big splashing in pond. Not so easy to disregard.
True. Although with the pond we could just... Well, actually with the pond we might end up destroying everything that we took out of here, so... Tree it is!
I don't like it any more than you.
Oh, I don't like it at all. But I have another way out with my shadow powers, but that would leave you stranded, wouldn't it?
Was it?
Well, you don't have any other way out, do you? Aside from me carrying you. Yeah.
That is true.
So, ready to fly?
Always.
So Lucio's gonna pick her up. And he's gonna jump.
Alright, well, rough approximation, the tree is within. Factual approximation is just a little outside of what your normal soaring leap should cause you to land on. So you're going to roll your dexterity and athletics -1. A safe landing means that you and Melinda crash lightly, tactfully, and gracefully into the branches of the tree.
Is there anything I can do to assist?
Hold on tightly. Try not to go flying. Do you have a ritual that may, or a ability that would offer any assistance to either the weight being moved or where you're landing?
Okay, so you said dexterity, athletics, -1.
Yep.
Can I risk a blood surge?
You can always risk a blood surge.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
I was trying to. Let me see. I have. I have 3 dots in dexterity and 2 dots in athletics. Does that help him at all?
It would help if you were the one making the roll. Unfortunately.
I'm trying to think of something.
Well, there is still an opportunity for you to prevent catastrophe.
Like I got 3 dex too.
All right, so we missed our goal by 1. Your safe, calm landing from leaping from the top of a suburban skyscraper was not quite as silent nor quite as uneventful as expected. Both of you all received 1 level of superficial health loss as the branches give way, they snap, they shatter, sprawling and breaking through your clothing and your flesh as you all smack down onto the concrete beneath the tree. The tree, however, is not so lucky. Your weight, your speed, your velocity, the fact that for the tree, it was as if it was hit by 2 human-sized cannonballs, causes it to crack under your weight, not just the branches. It begins leaning forward, falling into the man-made pond with a splash, the water cascading up. It looks quite beautiful in the night air as the wind takes a few droplets and sends it flying on its way. However, the noise is enough to wake the dead, which luckily for you, you guys already are.
Geronimo! Back into it. I imagine that's what he said before the landing, and then it's just a sudden cut short.
There is a certain grace that requires living down one's mistakes. The grace inherent in the fact that you all survived, you all made the leap, it's laughable. There's no way you guys should have made it. There's no way you should be as dead as you were when you started. Yet here you are on the concrete, whole as you possibly can be, with a broken tree, a few cuts and scrapes, various piercings care of the tree's branches, and a giggle threatening from somewhere deep beneath the conscious mind and subconscious. Just the idea of it. But you're outside, behind the building, and the 2 agents who were verifying and securing the perimeter that you all saw from upstairs come trundling around the left and the right side of the building. The sound of falling tree, the splash of the pond, drawing their attention as only strange sounds in the night can. And as you all lay there and watch the encroaching dark-suited man and woman approach, they're far enough away where you can tell One's a guy, one's a girl, but not close enough for you to discern much else about their dark suitedness. Are they wearing earpieces? Are they carrying firearms? Or all of that's obfuscated by the shadow of night around them. And as you all realize and stifle the giggle and the laughter of the moment, the door opens, Hestia, and standing there are two other men. One clearly a stereotype from central casting for a security guy in some federal building, and the other a little more homegrown. You can see the top portion of some tattoo on the left side of his neck. His jawline looks like the sort that has only gotten exercise from someone else's fists. The muscles bristling beneath his almost tailored suit is enough that you notice that he has what most people would describe as prison muscles. And as they look at you, the wreck of your flesh, the fact that you are still somehow standing through it all, and the sudden rush of feet on the stairs causes you to
going to attempt to blink past the two at the door. If it knocks them down on the way out, it knocks them down on the way out.
Okay, to be so kind as to go ahead and write and brawl.
Heard brawl. What was the first one?
Strength. And if you have potence.
Yeah, I think I might want to rouse the blood really quick first, because this is not going to be good otherwise. Oops.
Yes, give it to the beast. Give it leash. Give it room.
I'm kind of mad and angry and in pain right now anyway, so... Oh, nope. The beast is hushed.
It is there with you. Always. But it is aligned with your continued existence, your success, your survival. You are where it keeps all of its most important things.
Shoot. I just hit it. Oh, athletics. That's the wrong thing. No. Thank you.
Hestia taps into that invisible might of the blood, the ability that the power that exists beneath the surface of every kindred, the power hidden in the vitae, the power of that animating spirit provided via Cain or Lilith or whoever it was all those millennia ago. That drive, that risking the beast, causes her to slam into what feels like a brick wall. She sends one of the gentlemen sprawling. However, the gentleman with the prison muscles, he's considerably more solid than expected. He's considerably more dedicated than expected. There's a certain understanding that people who go to jail, people who go to prison are weak-minded of some sort. Well, his mind may be just as weak as the inherent belief in his wrongness for having done time, whether he did or not. The physical strength, however, is not lacking. And as you hit him and he grunts and his partner goes sprawling back to one knee and the steps on the footfalls on the steps grow closer, He does the most stereotypically badass thing you've seen in hundreds of movies and several books and almost every TV show where the fight music begins to ramp up. He rolls his shoulder, and you're sure that he's about to take some stupid offensive boxing stance or maybe a martial art one, and instead he draws out his MP5. Don't move. And with that issuing of don't move, in the elevator, there's an inherent fear that most people have in enclosed spaces, especially those that are hanging by wires, no matter whether the material wires all the same above an ungodly amount of space. It triggers something just beneath the surface, and it causes most people to not want to move as quickly, to not jostle the cable, because there's that fear that if you knock the elevator too much, that you will go crashing to your death hundreds of thousands of feet below, no matter how tall the building is, whether it's a 2-story or 3-story or 5-story. There is the fear that if you do something too quickly, if you slam into the walls of the elevator too harshly, that you knock the cable and you fall, plummet to your death somewhere near the center of the earth. That fear is a hard thing to shake. What's even harder to shake is watching this small 175-pound woman tear into and tear through 4 clearly trained individuals. When the dust settles and Dizzy kicks the last one just to make sure they stay down, there is a testament to the strength of the blood and to the military training that got them this far. Come on, Chica, we have to go to the stairs. We have to take those down. We'll leave them here.
Holy shit, you should be the vampire.
No, just a little rent of the mortality is fine. The whole thing. Let's go.
Alright, lead on.
Having known that Lucian has shown other stairwell, you all head north across the building to the front egress. There's a reason for it, but it just doesn't really factor in just yet. And she listens and she pauses at the doorway. Oh, they're almost here. They're moving pretty quickly. Maybe. She looks toward the elevator. We should have gotten their phones. They're using Bluetooth.
I mean, you want me to go get one?
Yes.
So Dizzy will go get one.
Heading back to the elevator. Because of the way that the bodies were left, elevator doors didn't close. They won't close. There's a sensor along the edge of it, keeping it there on the 6th floor. As you crouch and begin ciphering through pockets, you hear the door open and close. And you know that while you are hands deep into someone else's pocket, the Vivi has already started down those stairs.
God damn it. Alright, well, if I haven't found anything, I go after Vivi.
Oh, finding anything is the easy part. They're each packing an MP5 or a Uzi. All of them are carrying compact submachine guns. All of them are wearing reinforced clothing. It's about 25 pounds of clothing and secured fabric that they're wearing. And each of them are wearing what looks like hearing aids, not a phone. It is attached to their phone, but it doesn't look like a remote Bluetooth. It looks like the hearing aids that are drilled into the side of the head. It's there just behind the ear with the wire leading up and over and into the actual ear canal. Each of them are wearing those, and each of them are broadcasting. The phone that you pull out is still warm and hot, and there's an active line. You can see the phone signal at the top left of the screen, and you know that whatever they experienced and heard and said during the scuffle was heard by anyone on that line.
How difficult is it to remove this from his person?
Well, there's difficult and there's difficult. You know for a fact you can remove. In fact, it would be child's play. But you have a fear of your beast. The last time that you let it close to the surface, when you presented it blood in a tense moment, people were dead. Though, of course, kindred barely count as people, the idea is still very much the same. The security officers with Mama Waldy were not kindred. They may have been ghouls, like Vivi or Cineo, but still they quantify as more people. And dead is still dead, and that's what they are. Because you let the beast slip closer to the surface. There was unexpected blood, verbal or actual, an intense moment, ripping the earpieces out, like punching through a wet paper bag. It's an easy thing. How your beast will respond to it is another matter entirely.
All right, she'll grumble to herself and just leave it. Go after Vivi, who has clearly tricked her because she's dumb.
There's not dumb. Far from it. It is trust in the moment of stress and knowing that the person is capable, knowing that you all are on the same side. How you get there is another matter entirely. And the truth of it all as Dizzy rushes back to the doorway, the stairwell leading down that Vivi chose to act as a forward scout on, to handle things by themselves on. It's a sort of action, a sort of sacrifice only someone who cares more about the other person would do. It's the actions of not a would-be hero, but of a martyr, someone willing to die for their cause, or to put their body on the line, or to otherwise endure whatever pain might come because they feel the person they're doing it for is worth it. You start thinking back, how many months have you provided a few drops of a take to Vivi? And yeah, you've been careful. And you've done what you could to minimize the cumulative effect. But also, over breakfast and conversations and letting them in and trust build up over time. Were you always completely safe? Did you always wait long enough before allowing them to? Yeah, it's been far longer than Dizzy has let anyone else remain as close to them, ever. And that's a sobering thought. 8 months. 8 long months. And that's the longest that anyone who is not already dead has ever been to do, including her crew. While she traveled with them for years, there were times where she purposely shut them down, or times when she purposely kept them at arm's distance. There were times where they were not as close as they could be. There were secrets. There were things kept from one another. There were little cliques which developed, even in such a small group. And it was never just Dizzy. It was never just Dizzy being the center point. Things rotated, things moved. as he realizes that it may not just be the bond in place. It most assuredly is. But she's never had a bond like this with anyone else. So opening the door and heading down the steps, we shift to the back side of the building as Lucio and Melinda realize that the forces aligned against and using every standard of operations, including maintaining a perimeter guard and a rotational search pattern just in case. You know that it's just in case because of the 16 people that you know arrived in those vehicles, having only 2 guards means that this is just in case. There's no way anybody has any passes, but just in case they do. What do you all do?
So are they heading directly towards us, or did we fall, like, away from the tree afterwards, after it collapsed?
Oh, you're away from the tree, but away is still within 7 feet. Broken, shattered trunk and the day's labor worth of broken branches scattered across the ground and the bench. The concrete beneath you is cool, and the water that splashed down roughly about 15 feet past you still has a few splatters of droplets all over you at this moment. Not enough to cause your clothing to be soaking wet, but enough to know that you've definitely felt it. And if you were alive, it'd be chilling to the bone. Instead of what the water might cause, what is chilling to the bone is the fact that these people are trained enough to attempt to cover as many of their bases as possible, to have a strong standard of operation. And you haven't noticed yet either one of them reaching toward their ear like stereotypical people ear wigs or any of that sort. They're just muttering under their breath as they walk around the building towards you. The sound of the noise and suddenly down tree. What is it?
Okay, here's my question. The information we have, is it electronic?
Some of it, yes. Lucio grabbed paper.
Okay. Is there any way we could... Okay, how far away from the pond?
About 15, 20 feet.
Okay, never mind. There goes that idea. Is there any way we... Have they noticed us?
It'd be difficult to not... It's anyone's guess, but it's clear that they are to investigate.
Okay, so if they're like more interested in the tree, then they might not have noticed us yet. So this might work. Kane, help me. I'm gonna risk another rouse check and activate unseen passage.
And Melinda, it's
Say again?
And what are you attempting to do as you look to the guard approaching?
Is unseen passage for only one person? Or we
Yes.
work for both of us?
Yes. It is one person unnoticed. So watching him as you look from Lucio to the guards approaching.
Sorry, could you repeat that part?
Looking from Lucio to the approaching, what is it that Belinda does?
Me as a player, I have no idea. Can I make an intelligence roll of some kind to see if I can think of something?
Sure. Let's go with wits and insight.
Wits and insight. I was really hoping you'd let me use my intelligence.
Oh, intelligence. There are two guards who an investigatory path towards where you are. It is almost impossible that they would not notice you the closer they get. There's a pond roughly 15 feet from standing tree, which is slowly sinking into the pond in complete totality. And there's a park that you are behind. So there's 3 buildings side by side with a huge parking lot out front where there are, God knows at this point how many vehicles which arrived initially, which emptied of their contents, were 16 people moving this building, potentially moving towards the others. And trusting fate, no one likes being shot. You are a kindred. You are dead. You could take a couple of bullets. You can also crawl quickly and slowly into the water behind you and sink to the bottom and hide longer than living, because you don't need to breathe. You'd be completely covered and out of sight.
Alright, say again.
Based on your hunt, based on having grown where you did, Eastern Europe, Southern US, the games between the two countries, the 3 nations that you've lived in, varied in name, but they didn't vary all that much. One of the most popular games of any childhood has always been hide and seek, whether that's locked inside a studio apartment because the streets weren't that safe, or running through the streets of an ancient city such as Prague. The games were all the same, hide and seek, and that's exactly what's happening here. You are dead, which means there are several other additional places you might hide. Lucio has paper copies of most things on his person. Hestia and Dizzy and Vivi also have bits and pieces of information that they found most pretentious. If you were to lose the few USB drives that you managed to stash about your person, then it would not be a complete loss. So slipping beneath the waters of the pond behind you, obfuscating yourself by hiding in the branches of the tree, longer than most things are able to do so, because you don't need to breathe. You don't need air. You, in fact, are not blush, which makes it all the more easy to slip beneath the waves of that man-made pond and remain there until they lose interest.
Alright, Melinda, how many USBs do I have?
2 or 3. Handful you grabbed up.
and they're just like small USB size.
Yes.
Melinda is going to put them in her mouth, and she is going to sneak that 15 feet. She's gonna like make her way to that 15 feet and like submerge herself under the water, disguising herself underneath the branches.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as
Say again.
Would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your dexterity and stealth? All right. Lucia, when you shift into that dark space between noticed and unnoticed, you're sure that you are out of everyone's sight path. Where is it that you are attempting to go?
Away from the lake.
Okay.
Out of their path of interest.
Much easier done than said in this particular case, because as you southwest actually from the pond, actually is as you southwest towards the furthermost building, at least in trajectory, keeping a watch over your shoulder, ensuring that they don't notice your laden footprints, and make sure that they're not paying too much attention. Melinda slips beneath the water of the pond. Her dive is Olympic quality. The splash down is A1. It's clear that she would get at least several 8s, maybe a couple of 9s for skill, and unfortunately the difficulty wasn't all high. She is dead. There's no need to be overly elaborate, especially as she was slipping beneath the waves as quietly as a lost memory. However, her motion, her steps, her crawl, her best imitation of a World War II soldier training, crawling between the concertina wire, was noticed, and the 2 perimeter guards rushed forward, looking, watching. There's the indentation of both you and Melinda crashing down the cracked sidewalk, the broken branches, the tree looking as if it was hit by a cannonade. And they began searching. And they weren't sure what those forms were, but there's nothing there, even though there are signs, there are broken branches, there are broken limbs that were broken, not in the fall because they're laying too close together. They are far more weary than they be. And just as you're sure they don't know where you nor Melinda are, you hear all manner of screaming, building that you just exited. Glancing toward the building, hearing the screams. Lucky that Melinda is in fact as dead as the rest of you all are, so there aren't any air bubbles escaping. It is now 49 after the hour. I'm going to take a quick 11-minute pause and be back here exactly at the top of the hour. See you all very, very shortly. right, testing, everybody.
Present.
Hello.
Well, hi there.
Howdy.
Now, it seems as y'all gonna be in trouble at the corporate towers. I don't know about what y'all would do. I must say that I would slip away in the dark. Or something like that. All right. Questions. Has anyone picked up the newest Sabbat book, by the way?
I have it.
I want
Not
to.
yet.
Nah, why would I want to read about those losers?
Well, you know, there is that. They are monstrous. And I must say that from what I've read thus far, they are not as off base as to how we have personified them here in Chicago. But speaking of monsters, now that we're back, everyone here, as Lucio slips away, as Melinda waits beneath the surface of the water, and Dizzy heads downstairs, we focus on Hestia as the gun snaps into place with far more practice than is needed in the moment. The gun kept close to the body, tucked, so that it would be hard to be removed. The sound of footfalls coming down the steps, the pain still echoing and reverberating from the very, very cool looking heroic landing, which, just like everyone suspects, is far harder on the joints than one would expect. Having been rebuffed by running full force as quickly as she can into the mountain of muscle that is the gentleman standing before her, what is it that Hestia does?
We're gonna find out if his trigger finger is faster than my rapid reflexes.
Oh,
She is going to go. Well, she doesn't have to duck much because she's small, but go as fast as she can under the arm and just book it.
Okay. When in doubt, beat feet. Exit stage left even. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and athletics, and we will have his roll to respond up post haste.
So I'm gonna add my celerity because I'm definitely using rapid reflexes.
Mm-hmm. Hestia, in moments when she knows that she is heading into trouble, typically has her hair pulled or up, secured in place with several bobby pins and hair clips, depending on the style. Sometimes it's loosened down, but typically when knowing that she's heading into trouble, she keeps it up. Unfortunately, there was no knowledge of any potential trouble of heading out this evening, so her hair is down and loose. It forms light, bouncy, wavy curls about her head, her glasses catching just the hint of light in its reflection as she slips beneath the 3-round burst. As she slides past him in enough time that the smoke literally has not cleared. She pulls a portion of it with her as she slides past him. into the lobby area of the building, past where they stashed the card, past where Dizzy accosted the guard, giving them their few moments in heaven, past the place where there shouldn't have been any active cameras, but clearly there were. She finds 6 of the remaining 8 gearing up. Some are looking towards the front door, some are looking towards the stairwell, some are looking towards the opposite stairwell on the north side of the building, coming down on the north side of the lobby. And yet and still there's one who is on his phone. No weapon drawn, seemingly oblivious to the world around him. His eyes focus on the glowing screen of his phone.
Kind of skids to a halt, hoping they didn't see her just yet. And quick side thing: does extinguished vitae work on humans, or is that only kindred?
That is only kindred. It may work on Ghoul well, but typically humans wouldn't have enough vitae in their system for it to have any effect.
I swear, every time I think I should have took that blood boiling thing that works on everybody. I swear I should have took that. Anyway, are there? They're right by the front door.
They're spread out through the lobby area, but yes, you'd have to go through them, over them, around them somehow to get out the front door. The lights from their SUVs are shining on the lobby. You can see them still running outside. There is the sound of something cracking, and you can hear a yell. And while the footfalls behind you are far away where you can't actively actually hear them, they are close enough in your psyche that they feel as if they're bearing down right on top of you.
Okay, now, when we were looking for the things she had picked up or looked at a map of the building, is there any other, like, little alcove, egress point, something she can duck into real quick, so that if anybody was running past her or running up behind her, they wouldn't see her, they'd probably run past her, and then she could maybe slip back out the same way? Or is it just, there's only rear entrance and front entrance?
Yep, rear entrance and front entrance. Back to. Now you've passed 4 people. You see 6 ahead of you. What could there possibly be?
Yeah. Fuck it. Gotta go with element of surprise and try cutting through the biggest hole between them and heading for the door, trying to get the fuck out.
All right. So, catching this situation, right? The gentleman is still on the cell phone. They're clearly collating information and reassigning or retargeting how they do things. It was clear that based on how everyone's been responding thus far, that initially they came to investigate, to secure, lock down, and investigate the building. They had not come with the efforts or intentions of repelling any force directed at them. At least that's what it seems like. And as Hestia turns on the afterburners, targeting to dip, duck, dodge, and evade the wrenches flying at her. Would you once more roll your dexterity and athletics? All right. So, preparedness will beat most things, except for the extraordinary things that you really can't account for. People moving far faster than they should. People being able to absorb a bullet wound and keep moving. People able to take a blow designed to drop the largest of persons and shrug it off as if it was never in existence. There are all manner of things that one can't prepare for in the world of darkness. Unfortunately, there are all number of things that cause a significant amount of annoyance, even to dead. One of those things, and one of the great equalizers in all of the world, are sadly guns. And training or not, the sheer fact that a broken, mushed-legged being is moving with such skill, grace, and speed is enough to chill even the bravest of men. So they're not practicing safe clip evacuation, but they are practicing clip evacuation. And as the bullets tear through certain portions of Hestia, others whiz by her head. One failing leap misses, and the door closes behind her, with every enemy that she is aware of, every member of the other side behind her, with the SUVs ahead of her. What does Hestia attempt to do? What is Hestia's intention?
So they left the SUVs on and running. Is there anybody in them?
No, there doesn't appear to be anyone inside the detention windows being what they are. There doesn't appear to be anyone inside the
Did you hear me?
No, that didn't compute.
Hestia is going to flatten tires and head for the van.
Okay. As Hestia uses her undead might and sacrifice blade to target one of the tires on each of the vehicles, or two of the tigers on one of the vehicles, we shift our gaze to the stairwell. Dizzy heading down the stairwell can hear Vivi making a significant amount of noise. It is as if her foot falls down the steps are designed to attract attention. This is exactly what happens. Without knowing exactly how many people Vivi is engaging, it is clear that the fight has been joined. There are gunshots ringing from out in the lobby. There are the sound of thunder rocketing through the building from the back, and there's the sounds of Vivi engaging God knows how many in actual fisticuffs. What is it that Dizzy does?
Dizzy's gonna rush up and try to survey the situation.
Vivi has bitten off a significant amount of things over the course of their time together. Most of the time she's able to consume whatever she puts her mind to. It is clear, however, that these two are a little more skilled than expected, or far more likely, after engaging 4 people in an enclosed space and rushing down a flight of steps, that the natural buildup of lactic acid, even for ghouls, is beginning to show. as she's moving a little slower than she was, and they are moving considerably faster. As Dizzy bounds to the landing just behind where everything is happening, the elbow that rockets across Vivi's face can be felt miles away. The kick to her knee and the fact that they are working in tandem, showing that they are more skilled and have every intention of putting Vivi down hard.
Well, that's just not going to happen. So, how far away am I?
About 10 feet.
Alright, I'm going to activate my toughness, and then I'm going to go in, break someone's neck, literally.
Oh, yes. What is that place Dizzy's hunger at currently?
2.
Ooh. So the beast, which is what beasts are, mindful of only its wants, mindful of only its needs, rears its head. Looky, being unnoticed. How amazingly, delightfully lucky you are. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength and brawl? And if you're going to break their neck, you might as well enjoy the spurts of that delicious, lovely life juice.
Sit down, I'll call you when I need you. Is Potence going into this roll?
Are you using lethal body?
I absolutely am.
Let's get vicious, shall we? Make it happen. And survey says was treated higher. Oh wow! As they are pleasantly working in tandem with the effort of beating Vivi into unconsciousness, Dizzy appears in their midst like the ghost of Christmas past, as if all things will eventually meet the end of those bad memories. She appears, her platinum hair lightly wafting back into place from the effort of moving such a huge small distance so quickly. She latches on to the nearest gentleman, and with a twist, it's over. It's the sickening knuckle popping sound as what should be facing forward is now facing backwards. The shock on his partner's face is obvious. It can be felt. It's as if someone ran an ice cube across Dizzy's skin, watching it happen. The eyes growing larger, the realization that the face that should not be looking directly at him is. As if there is something wrong and can't put his finger, even though his mind knows what's wrong. And the realization is happening whether he wills it to or not. His partner, his left side, it's gone. The pain welling up in his eyes matches the level of shock. And before he has a chance to truly right himself as he's continuing to exert some effort. Maybe takes the most expedient manner possible. She pushes, much like one would on a schoolyard. The push designed and backed by the strength of Dizzy's blood, Dizzy's vitae soaring through her system, sends him over the railing. The 3 floors between where he is and where he ends is normally not enough to completely kill a person, but landing face first, one wishes they'd died. As the bones in their face, their chest, the misshapen and misaligned arm cry out in pain. The pain that the body can't because the mind goes off like a witch. And maybe looks to you. I believe perhaps, Chica, we should leave now. Let's make it downstairs and get out. And yes, that was my thank you.
Like I said, I'm not leaving you.
I wouldn't know about that. You didn't leave. You were true to your word. And I am true to my word. My goal is to get you out of here safely and to attempt to help you not use that dead magic of yours. If anything were to really happen to you, I'm not sure exactly what to do. I really, really value our time together. It meant a lot to me. But no time for you to get sentimental. Let's go.
Yes, we can make out later. Let's get us out of here.
The path down the steps is an easy one. There doesn't seem to be anyone else coming. But the sounds erupting from the lobby are another matter entirely. As you all open the door, there is a haze of smoke and gunfire. There is the sound of people doing what people do when guns are going off. There's the grimaces, there's the furrowing of the brows, and there's the unconscious need to yell to offset the sheer oral bombardment of firearms being discharged in such a small enclosed space. There are several things that one should never do. Besides getting into a land war in Asia, the second is to be any place where firearms are being discharged by people you don't know and who don't know you. Of the 2 mistakes, both with tragic ends, the firearms are by far usually the quickest route to meet Mephistopheles in person. And as the door closes behind you all and they look towards you, you can see past them out in the parking lot near the vehicles a small, svelte, almost voluptuous form of Hestia moving further away from the SUVs whose lights pointed at the lobby don't obfuscate that there is a way out.
Killer run.
Do you tell Vivi to run, or do you...
No, I just say kill or run to BB, like almost in a whisper.
And she grins and smiles as only someone who do the unthinkable and has every reason to not hope, but hopes all the same. And she takes a step forward. And speaking of taking a step forward, the water is as cold as the devil's heart. It is as deep as the thought of what we all are, where we exist in the realm of this multiverse that we inhabit. And unfortunately, due to the season and how intemperate the weather has been, as cloudy as a September sky, So while you are able to glimpse the forms through the roiling, still softly lapping water, they are not quite able to see you. The flashlights that only reflecting off the surface of the water, never actually penetrating it, give you ample opportunity to watch them as they look towards the water, look towards each other, and begin to take a step away from the pool. And as they step away and begin moving back, do you wait for them any significant amount of time, or do you force yourself to the surface? It is an effort because your very dead flesh does not have the gases escape. It does not have the buoyancy of the living. The sooner you get out, the better. But also, the sooner you get out, the more likelihood someone may notice you.
How deep is the pool?
The pond you're in, it's easily 15, 20 feet.
How soon to daybreak?
A significant amount of pulse pounding, heart stopping moments. It's not an immediate concern.
Alright. 10 minutes or so, and then come up and kind of peek to see if they're still there.
Using the cane-given strength that comes from being dead, an ambulatory dead person, a dead corpse, a living dead thing, Melinda rises at the top of the pond, exerting no small amount of effort to fight the waves pulling as if they know that Melinda shouldn't exist. She hangs onto the edge, the concrete base, pulls herself till her face pops above the surface of the pond. There is not a person, living or dead, within sight range. There is the sound of gunfire. There's the howl of the wind. And there's the very real fact that Melinda is alone in the northwestern suburb of Chicago. After barely getting down the directions and landmarks in Chicago, Melinda is easily 25-30 miles from the city's border, in the middle of roughly nowhere, with no phone that might work and a mouthful of universal service buses.
No one's around. She will pull herself out of the pool and she will how far away is the center?
North side of Chicago, easily 25-30 miles away. figuring out which direction and how best to get there should not be that difficult, even without a phone. It is definitely something that will require a trek and an investigation as to the local area and how to move from one place to the next, considering you don't have your phone. You can't call Uber or Lyft. And as far as you are aware, most of the suburbs don't have any semblance of reliable transportation at this hour of the evening.
And what hour is it?
You got about 2 hours till sunrise. Maybe an hour and a half.
Melinda is going to go to in Chicago, do you like 7-Elevens or like Circle K?
Yeah, they're convenience stores. And Chicago. And there's 7-Elevens and convenience stores in Arlington Heights. The trick being is, unfortunately, the further you get from Chicago, the less constant they are. They're usually at gas stations or the like. Rarely will you see a strip mall that's specifically just a 7-Eleven or a convenience store of local knowledge. Where you are in Arlington Heights, getting to the expressway isn't a difficult thing. You can listen quietly to the night and find your way there. Getting to a convenience store, however, is another matter entirely. That's a little more difficult, as you would naturally find yourself moving waterlogged and soaked though you are into areas where people are leaving bars or getting ready to go to a bar or leaving work or what have you at this hour of the evening. It's the sort of people that different stands out.
Go to like where people are like, or like, going to finding like a local bar where people are leaving and ask one of them like to borrow their phone and call a taxi.
Okay. Roughly 45 minutes later, you find what appears to be the downtown area of Arlington Heights. There are several clubs which have ended their hours of operation. There are several people who are less than sober making their way across the sidewalk, making their way out into the night to head to either the after hours or someone's home where they could fire up the grill or otherwise entertain themselves until the sun comes. In the doing, there is no way that Melinda does not stand out. Her skin has a deathly pallor, as all unblushed kindred do, but that is compounded by the fact that she submerged herself in just above freezing temperature water. So the pallor of death is as noticeable as someone who has an eye for color.
Melinda is putting on like shivering. She is, this isn't like her. She's not a fledgling. She's been in the winter of cold places. But she's really, like, when she approaches someone and she's, obviously, wet and pale, and she's like clutching like on like her wet jacket, and like she's like if she's trying to use it to keep her warm, and like her teeth is like chattering, and she's like,
would you be so kind as to roll your manipulation and persuasion?
Yes. Yeah, she looks at her early 20s, and she's like, her reasoning is there was a prank, or like a dare.
And while that roll is happening, ensconcing herself in the hopeful smoke of humankind, Lucio, the guards are, guards. They are clearly, mindfully watching over the pond. The odds of Melinda making it out unnoticed seem exceptionally small. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. She would definitely have to hide long enough for them to complete. Once they leave, they'll probably return back to look again, and maybe again, just to make sure. They seem that sort. And then the gunfire. You hear several bursts. You hear several cacophonous responses, little mini explosions. Projectiles being discharged from firearms. Do you investigate, or do you continue on your way away from this situation?
Oh boy. I think Lucio is going to try and get away, because his assumption, without knowing what's going on inside, is that everyone's trying to escape to meet up later, or to meet up at the blackmailer's place. So he's going to try and get away, because he doesn't understand what's happening inside.
Okay. Is he going to try to beat feet, or is he going to try to make to a vehicle?
He's going to try and follow Melinda, basically. I'm assuming with unseen passage still thrown up.
Okay. So Lucio's gonna wait for the guards to loose, and he's gonna wait. We can remember when we're picking up at Lucio, Melinda is just slunk beneath the surface. The guards are still investigating. They're moving back away from the pond now, and the sounds of a gun range are erupting all around him, from inside the building, from in front of the building. Will he investigate the gunfire, or is he going to move away?
He's gonna move away.
Okay. So move.
In fact, while he's waiting for Melinda to surface, would mending break unseen passage?
No, it would not.
He's gonna risk a mending, because if this were to drop, he's not sure quite how to explain 4 levels of damage. 2 might be a little more explainable.
It's in the very heart of the beast and make promises that you have no intentions of fulfilling. That sounds like a very smart thing. Making promises you can't keep. Teasing and taunting. It's a good way to lose a finger or a hand. You against 2 guards is definitely an easy thing, even with your level of skill, they won't even know what hit them or bit them, as the case may be.
You know what? That's a good point. Have they made it, like, have the two guards made it back yet?
Yep. They're making it back and moving around the side of the building. The lead, which is clearly the female partner, draws her submachine gun. The backup, the co-partner, draws his at the sound of firearms going off inside the building. And it's clear that they have every intention of, well, batting cleanup, as it were.
On second thought, I'll stick to the original plan. SMGs don't mix well with Lucio's soft flesh.
His flesh only matters if he's caught, right? And so he slinks into the dark. He is the dark. He is the night. He is vengeance. And he waits. And he waits. And he waits. Making it to the van. Hestia. Does she take off?
She's not gonna gun it or anything so that she doesn't call undue attention to the fact that she's trying to get out. Even though she flattened the tires, she's not confident that they don't have some sort of backup on the way, so she's not gonna go speeding out of here. She's gonna make a slow loop of the building just to see if maybe there's another coterie member that needs some sort of help or needs a way to get away, or if there's anybody like sneaking up on it. Like, just try to make sure that the area is clear before she goes leaving anybody, because she doesn't want to leave them with no way to get out.
Okay, unfortunately, the only way to loop the building would be the sidewalk. Does she do so?
You mean drive the van on the sidewalk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, fuck it.
Alright. Would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and dodge? And Dizzy, would you be so kind as to your dexterity and athletics plus celerity? All right. And Dizzy had, would you be so kind as to roll for Vivi a total of 6. All right. So, these things, several things happen at once. Typically do when everything is balls to the wall, feces to fan, Dow Jones to a drop, everything happens at once. The chaos of the moment, the chaos of battle, the chaos of just adrenaline pumping moments of they have the opportunity to discharge their firearm. They were shooting it, disappeared before it had a chance to really register that it disappeared. They watched as just outside tires were popping, and then there was this pair of modern remixed version of Thelma and Louise. Dizzy and Vivi take off as they one step in front of the other, every intention of reaching the outside world. The bullets flew. Fingers already on trigger. The changing of trajectory was a thing as simple as batting an eye. And the bullets tore through flesh. The bullets tore glass as the Harris Varos shelter van popped the curb, attracting attention. The two guards who were circling around the west side of the building, watching the vehicle approach, and squeeze their trigger as the bullets tore through the van and the bullets tore through Vivi and Dizzy. There's a moment of recognition. A pain so succinct, it feels good. The pleasure and pain centers of the brain being in different hemispheres but close enough to touch. The wires getting crossed, and the force and impact from the shells driving bodies into the air. Headlights shattering, glass Hestia swerving at the last moment to keep the bullets from tearing completely through her. Completely through everything that she's managed to do. Watches as the two agents are closing on the van, looking out of the broken, shattered windshield as she swerves away and tries to make her way back to the road. She sees Vivi lying in a puddle of what could only be their life's blood. You see Dizzy hovering over them. You're not sure how down or how affected Dizzy is, but the fact that 6 people with semi-automatic fire, and in 1 or 2 of their cases, actual full-fledged automatic rules are for people that care about getting caught. There's a moment of recognition that certain things, certain phases are yet to begin. So, with everyone utilizing their disciplines, Hestia receiving the +2 for the van, the total is 9 superficial on half health level at this point. Of course, you have to half it, which would mean it would be 5. But before halving it, you would subtract any of your fortitude and Hestia's +2. So Hestia's +2 automatically knocks it down to 7 for Hestia. Dizzy mentioned toughness, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So that'll bring it to 5 for me.
And then you have that. Unfortunately, Vivi doesn't have toughness. Vivi doesn't have kindred resistance. The 9 superficial is roughly 5 health levels farther in advance than she held. There's a certain respect that must be given to the intent to do everything one can to protect those things that they love. Unfortunately, it often ends in tragedy. And that's where Vivi life ends. There is no way. There is no opportunity, save one. And the question is, does Dizzy have it in her to damn another person into this eternal night? And with that question in front of us, we draw to a close with Melinda and Lucio finding themselves in the middle of Arlington Heights moments later, with Dizzy having to make a decision in the moment very quickly, with Hestia having to also make a decision. Will she risk being tagged and shot again? Will she vacate the van? Will she attempt to get back to the road? Will she watch as, well, people say goodbye or hello? But all the same, I would like to thank you all for a lovely session. And thank you so very much for taking this time to explore these characters with us. And I will see you guys next episode. Good night, everybody.
Night all.
Good night.